Hello, my friends. I welcome you to another episode of Aditya Talks. And today we are going to talk to Coach Nisha Anand. And she is such a gem of a person, and she is a coach. She gives so much knowledge to others, and is a contributor at large. And she is a very good person, and she's today she's coming on our show today. So let's welcome her. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Aditya. It's such a pleasure, such an honor to be with you and your audience. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. The honor is mine. Uh, so why? So let's begin with the interview. Why did you decide to become a coach? And please tell us about your story in detail on your evolution to start contributing to the masses.
Okay. Right. I have always, from my very young childhood days, must be from the time I was of your age, Aditya. I have always been wanting to contribute meaningfully in people's lives in such a way that it could make a positive difference, right? But then you and your audience would agree with me, our Indian conditioning is in such a way that you have to undergo a specific structure of studies, and so your parents keep telling you this is how much you need to be qualified, and then you need to take up a good job if you want to go ahead. And so there is a specific routine that we all students, as a student, so you are already studying, and you realize that that Indian conditioning is in such a way that you have to undergo that. But I still remember in my school days, whenever we would be having a free period, I would always, like, all my classmates would be thrilled that, because I used to read a lot of management books, attend a lot of workshops from a very younger childhood times, because my parents were also into it. They also participated in a lot of workshops and management seminars. So I used to remember them, and then I used to teach my classmates during the free period about how you should live life, and from my very school days. So that's when I felt a lot of contentment when I used to do that. But then after graduation, then I did my masters, then I picked up a job. I was working with L&T, and I was working with Godrej Group, and so I always wanted to work with an MNC so that I could get some exposure. But when L&T was my last job, and that's when I got some. I was working in the SCG cell, which is called as the Strategy and Consulting Cell in L&T Pune. And that's when I got some opportunities to connect with the employees. So we were around 1,200 employees in our business unit, and our core team of 5 people, we had to communicate a lot of change, because L&T was undergoing some transformation that time. So how to accept change and how to be mentally prepared for the new transformation that L&T was undergoing. So there are a lot of things into the process, and I because of my good oratory skills, the management decided that I take up that entire project. So I led the project, and I just started loving it, because I found my passion there. So that's how, Aditya, I decided that why not take something of this thing, which gives me so much of contentment, fulfillment, and I could see a spark in my eyes when I was able to make some positive difference. I'm sure that when you are doing these kinds of interviews, you would also be feeling, because I could see that at such a young age you have so much of depth of knowledge and interest and enthusiasm to conduct. I also watched a couple of your interviews, so you can relate to what I'm saying, right? So that's exactly that feeling that I had when I was doing this stuff. So that's how I decided to get into my own coaching. And so although I was in Pune, I was married, I had a daughter. So, decisions could not be just taken up out of the blues. There were a lot of plannings and preparations to, leave a corporate job and, get into your own business, because there are so many challenges ahead. You just can't just decide, okay, I really want to start my business, and, you make an investment and you start. So I did a lot of my homework. I researched a lot about, the industry, about the need in the industry. And
Yes.
after that, I got into my business, and that's how I started my coaching.
So that was a very interesting story. So basically, you followed your passion and then you became a coach, and your passion
Absolutely.
from your childhood was related to teaching others or giving knowledge to others and helping them grow. So that is
That's right.
certainly a very interesting and a good passion. Well,
Mhm.
ma'am, as a coach, how do you elevate people and how do you contribute to their growth? To their growth?
Mm-hmm. So basically, see, before you elevate somebody, the first step is self awareness, right? So, say for instance, you have a vision that I want to become something. Okay, so unless and until you do not see yourself somewhere, you really cannot reach there, right? So you need to have that vision. So for that vision, self awareness is where it begins. So to tell you the fact that all these 15 years of my coaching experience has taught me is that most of the times people do not themselves know what they actually want, right? So because of that lack of clarity and lack of awareness about their own self, about what they are good at and what they really need to still work upon, where do they want to reach, that clarity is missing. So to be able to help individuals elevate themselves, our first step would be helping them with being self aware about who they are and what they want to be, and then decide on the journey about how they can reach there. So that's basically how we help people.
Yes. So please tell us about your strengths as a trainer and what specific solutions and guidance people should expect to achieve from or from your coaching.
Okay, so see, basically I would say that my core strengths are two. Okay, so one is basically helping identify your own strengths, wherein you are able to introspect within. So there, I've undergone a lot of qualifications. My last qualification, I am a Harvard certified performance mentor, wherein we use a lot of tools and techniques wherein we try to understand what your strengths are, right? So being able to introspect within with the help of a lot of psychometric tests and tools to be able to identify your own strengths, that will be number one. That could be called as one of the core strengths of me. And number two would be that most of my coaching are result focused. So unless and until I don't feel that I would be able to deliver a result, I would really not take up an assignment, right? So I would not say that, okay, what if we see that people are not so good to deliver results, right? So that's not the elimination criteria. The criteria would be whether the person is coachable or not, right? So that's the first criteria that I look into. So say for instance, I am guiding somebody, but the person is not willing to accept the learnings for whatever reasons. So having tried that on and off and often, if I realize that the person is not willing to be able to coach and take up learnings, then I would rather make it clear to the person that this is how you will get stuck and you will not be able to get the results that you desire, right? So the second strength I would say is that most of my trainings have been result focused, wherein whatever objectives we predetermine, following a specific psychometric assessment, we ensure to deliver the same. So that's what people can expect out of me as a coach is identifying what your goals are. Why are you really wanting to get into, the coaching assignment and mentoring guidance, and then identifying a path and then achieving it. So that's how it is.
Yes, well, that is certainly very interesting, and you have planned. The planning is really brilliant here. So please tell us about time management and why is it necessary to succeed in life?
Right. So time. See, time has something, it's a very relative term. It depends for each one how they take time, right? So, like, say for instance, if you ask me that, time is common for all, right? We all have 24 hours, but each of us, like you, I, or anybody in your viewers who are watching this video, each person is using time in their own way, right? So for some people the time is like very less and very limited. They have so much to do, but they don't find enough time to do all of the stuff. And for some people, they have so much time that they don't know how to utilize it. There's so much of free time that they don't know what to do in that time. So despite of having the same amount of time for each one of us, why is it relative or different for each one of us? Is actually because people who have specific goals in their lives, right? Like, say for example, few years down the line, this is where I see myself, right? So if people have specific goals for their life, then for them time will be something which will be very important, very crucial, and very productive as well. Why? Because you have some long-term vision, some long-term goals, and some short-term goals, right? So every morning, if you have a long-term or a short-term goal, you would actually wake up with enthusiasm and wanting to plan a lot of things and start working, because you already know what your goal is and how you want to utilize your time, right? But for people who have no goals in life, who just wake up and just live life, like there are people who live in the now, the present, कि भाई जैसे जिंदगी आ रही है जीते रहो, right? So for such people, after a little period of time, they will start facing this challenge of lack of fulfillment. Why? Because every human being is connected, his happiness is connected with growth. So if for a little while, and then a little more longer, and then months and years, if you see that you are not growing, you feel that you are not happy. So there's a lot of connection between your growth and your happiness. So if you feel that my life is like stagnating, I don't see that I'm doing anything better, or I'm not contributing anywhere, then probably you will not feel happy after a couple of days of doing the same routine task. I say, people in lockdown, what they do is they binge watch movies on Netflix, on a lot of web series on various channels, and then they literally kill time, right? Why do they do that? So they do that because they do not see anything more meaningful to do, right? So, but if you find out a way, like say for example, Aditya has found out a way to contribute back to people, right? So you're making so much of a difference in others' lives. So you have come up with so many videos, and people are watching your videos, and every single viewer is watching your video, and out of say 1,000 viewers, even if 5 people are inspired watching some of these interviews, and you are able to make a difference in their lives, you would feel so good, right? So if out of 1,000 views, if you receive say around even 100 people texting back to you that Aditya, I really feel that your interview has changed my life, so you would really be geared up to do some more videos of this sort, right? So every morning you will have a goal that, okay, let me plan for some more interviews so that I could inspire some more people, right? Similarly, every individual who has a goal tied up with his own personal life, then his time will make a lot of sense, and that will bring him or her fulfillment, and that will lead to success. So in order to be able to have a fulfilling life in the long run, you must have a goal tied up so that you can make productive use of your time. Am I making sense to you? Yeah.
Yes. I understood. So
Okay.
that was amazing, and I believe everybody should productively use their time, and if they if they at least do something that adds and or contributes to them, right? Like read a book or learn a
Right.
new skill, something that will contribute to their skill set or their life, not just waste time, like not
Absolutely.
just waste time. So
Right.
please, you're known for being a soft skills like coach also. Please tell me about how soft skills play an important role in anything we do in life, and also leadership.
Okay. So when we're talking about the soft skills, so across the world there are so many researchers that talk about how soft skills play an important role in building up a personality. I would say that see how soft skills contribute to your life as well as people connected with you. So, see, basically, there are broadly speaking two skills. One is the hard or the technical skills, right? So, say for example, if you are a graphic designer, then you know how to use a particular software. You know how to use those tools. You have complete knowledge about the latest version. And you are able to do a lot of things kind of skill that you're working on. Now you're able to deliver results as well because your work is amazing. Okay, so quality wise, technically, you are very sound. But now, when you about the kind of work that you do, if you are not able to express about how you do your work or how good you are or how you can help the client achieve the results he or she is expecting, if you feel low in confidence, if you stammer when you are talking, or if you're not able to present your ideas well enough, wherein the person would actually feel like he believes in you, right? Then probably he would completely not be sure whether he would want to give that assignment to you, right? Similarly, whether you are a student or a candidate, or probably you are a business owner or an employee, in any walk of life, in any kind of a role that you are playing, if you're not able to express well, you would not be able to communicate what your strengths are, right? So this would be like all of these soft skills are basically the skills that are required to be able to make the other person believe in you, have trust in you, that you can deliver something which will add value to their work, right? And in this world, this is a world wherein we all work together in a society, in a community. Nobody is working individually. So if I am the only person who is working, I mean, it's not possible, right? Whether you are working based on earning, like you are doing a business, or whether you are employed somewhere, then also you are working with a team of people under an employer. If you're doing your own business, then also you have staff with whom you're working. So everybody has to work together, right? So in a community, in a group. So for that, you need to have a very important element which is called as trust, and a second important element which is called as respect. So both of these important elements can be only showcased with the help of soft skills. So it could be soft skills like teamwork, it could be soft skills like communication, it could be skills like leaderships. All of these skills are important to develop these two things, right? And if you ask me, like, what exactly in leadership, if you're asking me that, if I would want to elaborate more on leadership, then specifically these two things that I mentioned, that is, people actually look forward to leaders to be able to feel inspired that, if this person is my leader, I want to become like him or her, right? So to be inspired to elevate your level, to reach a level higher than your own version, whatever you are, but you feel like being inspired to go a level above what your level is and aspire to be like a leader. So that's what a role of a leader is, wherein you are actually motivating the people around you to be inspired to become better, deliver better, and be a better individual, because you are actually all the time on a platform wherein people are watching you. So you need to showcase the best version of yourself in a way wherein people feel motivated and inspired to act like you. So I think that's what a skill of a leader should be.
Yeah, that is very interesting. I would like to add to that. Soft skills are important for leadership. Is also one of the leadership skills, because see, when as you gave the definition of leadership, leadership is like a maximizing the effort of the people around you, your team, and leading them towards the goal. And so
Mhm.
if you are able to connect with the person, if you are able to understand and effectively give orders, or understand and like lead the person, then that is like that happens with the use of soft skills. So soft skills are very essential for becoming a very good leader, and they are essential for becoming a good person also. If you can talk with people like in a good way, then you will always have life will be very easy for you. So that is what I
True.
believe, and that is what you shared. I just
Right.
summarized it. So please
Thank you.
tell us. Yeah. So is our building great habits like the best strategy we can have for life? Please explain.
Okay. Yeah, so habits are definitely very, very, you could say as a foundation building block for our lives, right? Because see, what is habit? Habit is something that, you do on an auto mode and you do that daily, right? So that's what a habit is. Now, there are good habits as well as bad habits, and we all know that we should not go on for bad habits, right? Now the irony here is that developing bad habits is far easier, okay, and far enjoyable than good habits. But the best thing that we need to remember here is that, you know to identify some specific habits which are difficult to implement, um, but they are important for your growth, right? So then you need to push yourself out of that comfort zone, so that you can see yourself better than your yesterday, right? So say for instance, let me tell you that, it has been beautifully said that, the most successful people also hate doing things which unsuccessful people also hate, right? So like, we say that, these people who are very successful, they are so very, having a very perfect routine, whether we're talking about Mark Zuckerberg, or we're talking about Jeff Bezos, or anybody, you talk about Sundar Pichai, anybody. When you talk about people who are successful, they also hate doing a lot of things, but then they make a decision to still do it even if they don't like to do it. And that's where the failures who are not so successful, stay behind, and the successful people move ahead. So it's basically making a choice of whether I am willing to push myself out of my comfort zone, so that I'm able to reach a place where I want to reach, right? So number one, why do we need to inculcate habits, and what is the importance of having a right habit, is to be able to reach somewhere where you visualize to be. If you have no goals, if you have no visions, then you don't need any habits. And then, if you're, it's like sitting in a boat, and then you go as per the wind blows, right? And then you reach anywhere, and we all are going to reach somewhere, right? So if I ask you that 10 years from now, everybody is going to reach somewhere or the other, right? But the point is whether you want to reach on a destination which is planned, or whether you want to reach on a destination which is by surprise, right? So if you want to reach on a destination which is pre-planned, which you have thought of, then you will start doing your homework right from now, so that 10 years are down the line, even if you don't reach exactly the destination where you want it to be, but you will be somewhere around there. But if you do not do that, then you may be anywhere, and then you'll suddenly find yourself somewhere, doing things that you never wanted to do, with people you never wanted to be around, right? And maybe living in a house or driving a vehicle which you never wanted to, right? So this is all based on what you foresee, yourself, where is your destination few years down the line, a year down the line, couple of months down the line, so long term and the short term, that will inspire you and then help you inculcate certain habits on a daily basis, right? So habits are so crucial to build up a personality, to make you a version which is better than your yesterday, wherein you push yourself out of the limits of your comfort zone and actually building up on your own self, because there's a self discipline that you follow, and it gives you a self worth. You are adding so much to your own value. Why? Because when you inculcate some good habits, like say for example, what do I mean by habits is like waking up on time, right? So if you have the right habit of waking up early, then probably you have so much of time left for the entire day, and then you plan your day, you do your regular activities, then you actually implement whatever you have planned. It is not haphazard, right? So waking up early could be one thing, then you exercise, that could be your second habit, wherein you inculcate that, okay, I need to do some physical exercises daily. Then you do your time management. Then probably you want to deliver whatever you have promised to people. You are punctual. You are honest in your work. So all of these things are the right habits, and that is possible to identify. And everybody can inculcate their own habits. You cannot have like a common umbrella for all, right? One size does not fit all. So your habits have to be aligned to your goal. So if there are certain habits which are not right for you to reach your goal, then you need to alter them. So say for instance, when I decide that 10 years down the line, I want to inspire say a million people. Okay, so if I want to inspire a million people, then what do I need to do within 5 years, right? And then if I want to reach X number of people within 5 years, then what I need to do in 1 year. And if in 1 year this is what my goal, then what I need to do every month or every week. So when I cut them down into smaller chunks, I will identify that some of my habits, if I have a habit of waking up late, or I have a habit of postponing and procrastinating, then this won't work, because then I will never reach my goal, right? So for every individual, the habits, there could be some good habits which are common for all, but then you may also want to pick up the right habits that will help you achieve your goal. So that's how it is.
Yes, that was certainly interesting today. Today we are learning a lot from you, ma'am. We are just into the interview and we have learned so much. So viewers, if you're still watching, watch to the end, because we are going to learn a lot more till the end. So, ma'am, why? Please advise why public speaking is the most important future skill, which every kid should learn, and why.
Okay. Right. So Aditya himself is a live example why public speaking is so important, right? So when we are talking about public speaking is nothing but, talking to a group of people, right? So public is what? So more than 3 people could be public, right? More than 2 or 3 people, when you have a larger group of audience is public. Now, what happens is that, when you are talking to a friend of yours who has been with you for a very long time, you know the friend, and you gel around and you're sharing some ideas of yours. It's very easy to share, okay? But when you have to share the same set of ideas in front of a lot of people, there is an audience of say 1,000 people in front of you, and then Aditya calls out your name and says that, all right, now we're going to invite Mr. XYZ to come up on the stage and share his thoughts, his ideas or her ideas. Now then you have that jittery in your stomach and butterflies, jumping up and down. How will I say that, man? So that's basically the fear of public speaking. Now, why do we have that fear, and why is it important to overcome that, right? So let us understand that why do we have the fear? The reason why we have a fear of talking in public is basically because, most of the times we keep analyzing about what the audience, what the viewers would think about me if I do not say it the way it was expected to. right? Like, say for example, when I'm talking in front of a large audience, the first thought that I would have could probably be that, what if I go wrong? What if I say something that does not match to their expectation? What if they make fun out of me? What if I forget my speech? So there are so many what ifs that my entire focus is to be so perfect based on the expectation about how the audience is viewing me, right? So that's what the actual problem is. That's what creates fear within us. So when I keep delivering a speech in front of people with a focus on how people will look at me, how people will perceive me, I can really not be a good public speaker, right? So we need to first overcome that. So the first thing to do that is basically your focus should not be from the audience perspective, as in what will they think about me, but rather it should be how will they make maximum benefit from what I am saying. So the focus has to be adding value to their level of information, to their level of knowledge, right? So the focus has to be how can I give more to help them add value to their own knowledge. So the moment you are more about a giver of information, right? Because you are on an upper hand, you are on the stage. So you are there to share some knowledge with them. So if you are able to add value to your audience and your focus is all the time to be a good deliverer of adding value to them, your focus would be more on looking at how they are responding. So when I'm saying something about, say for example, right now I am talking to a large audience and I'm talking about how important is public speaking, say for instance, right? So if there is a large group of audience of say 1,000 people and I'm looking at each of the person and observing how they are understanding the points that I am making, are they able to understand the point that I am saying? Are they able to relate to what I'm saying? When I observe their body language, if they do not, then I ask them, am I not making sense to you? Am I making sense to you? Or I think you have a question. So when I observe about how much value I am adding to them, my entire focus would be on their receptivity rather than how good I am, how good I am delivering, whether I am making mistakes or that way. So the number one point here is to be able to deliver a good, to become a good public speaker. First of all, we need to remove the fear by focusing more on delivering rather than being observed by people, right? And talking about the importance of public speaking, see, the reason why we all need to be good at public speaking is because we have to express ourselves in front of people in every walk of life. Okay, so say for example, right now, although I am on a video conferencing right now, but still I am public speaking because there would be so many people who would be then watching this video, right? So if I am able to overcome the fear, I will be able to give the best version of myself and I would be able to express the best of my thoughts that will add value to the other person, inspire the other person and be better. Similarly, if there's a student who is delivering a public speech for his particular assignment, they have vivas and they have projects or they're making speeches, then also it will help them express themselves better. When they get into a job, they have to express themselves. When they are making a presentation in front of a group of people, they're going to make presentation to their own internal staff. They would be making presentations to the HODs, to their team members, and then if they become business owners, then probably in front of their own customers, their own team members. So every walk of life, expression of self, whether it is one-to-one or in public, is so important, right? So public speaking is definitely mandatory as a skill, so that you can express the best of yourself to be able to contribute in someone's life, right? And then also elevate your own life, because you're creating an impression about who you are, what you are, right? So that's basically about it.
Yes, public speaking has also had a very, very deep impact in my life. I myself I started public speaking like 2 years ago, and it now my life has changed because of it. So,
Wow.
ma'am, I also heard that you at some point of time were at Toastmasters. Please tell us about your experience there.
Okay. So for Toastmasters, when I was working with L&T Infotech in Pune, so I was taking care of the Toastmaster International, because that was a part of the organization unit itself. So what we used to do is every week we would have Toastmaster sessions. I remember it was somewhere on every Friday or something. So since I enjoyed this kind of an initiative, I took charge of the initiative. Now, for Toastmasters International is more about being able to develop your public speaking. So, talking about Toastmasters, what happens is it helps you with extempore speeches. So there is a particular flow and agenda that you follow, and that's what we also followed at L&T, wherein we could not only create some engagement activities with the participants, but also it creates a lot of confidence within yourself. So for talking about my experience herein, what we used to do is we used to identify some extempore topics and then throw it to all the participants who would be there in the event, and then it would be related to, say, current affairs, it would be related to some management learnings, it would be related to any life learnings or anything. So all of these topics would be pre-planned. We would put it into a fishbowl, and then people would pick it up, and then we would make some judge. Some people, so they were already assigned earlier in advance. So we would, select 3 to 4 people who would be acting as judge to guide on certain parameters on public speaking. So people who pick up those chips are supposed to share their ideas, express their thoughts, and then they would be evaluated by people who are judging them. And then it'll be a very positive interaction wherein you are guided on what are your strengths and where you need to improve upon. So these parameters were something that we would sit down well in advance, like parameters like body language, your voice intonation, and the content, the creativity. Normally in public speaking, there are majorly 3 parts, right? Like there's an introduction, and there's a body, and there's a conclusion. And then the body has to be more creative, the introduction has to be attention seeking, the conclusion has to be action oriented. So there are various ways and structures of delivering presentations. So we would identify some specific parameters based on which people were guided, and then we would close that with some debates. So we would be picking up some topics on debates, wherein there'll be like for and against 2 teams, and people will share about why they think like that, why they don't. So there would be a debate competition, and all of these are something as a very healthy kind of an interaction, wherein, see, most of the times even these days that I see among children, among students, at a very early age, they are so busy with gadgets that all the time they are on mobile phones or video games and watching television series or web series. And then because of the COVID, the pandemic that we're all facing, outdoor activities are so limited. Now in such a scenario, the movement being so limited, your mind is totally blocked with a lot of screen time, whether it is gadgets or whether it is television or computer, laptops, anything. So then your creativity actually succumbs at a level. Why? Because you do not get an opportunity to connect with people, and we are all human beings, so we need like social circles, and we need people around us, and we are not given that opportunity. So whether it is pandemic times or pre-pandemic times, if we are too much gadget freaks, then it is actually going to kill our creativity. Now, activities like Toastmaster International or any kind of these kinds of events actually, force you to come out of your comfort zone and express what you feel from within. And when the other person, counter argues, it actually pushes you to think harder, more logically, put your statement, agree to some, disagree to some. So that eventually helps you build up on your logical and critical thinking. And that's where, you intellectually grow. If you don't put yourself into these kinds of interactions when you have to put your brain to work, then probably you will stagnate. Your mind will totally rot up, in a little while. Your creativity will shut down in some time. So that these kinds of activities really build that critical thinking within you. So I think more of these activities should be done on and off right from a very early age.
Yes, I was also one of a initiative, just like Toastmasters International. It was called like Gavel's Club for kids. Type
Okay.
like Gavel's Club. It was managed by Toastmasters only, so I was part of that, and there only I developed my speaking skills, and now and then I just continued developing, and I came on to YouTube, and then I started this.
Amazing.
So so please share stories like of some people, some of your trained people who have successfully implemented the learnings you shared.
Okay. So there are so many of them. Let me pick up a couple of them. I would want to start with a lot of women entrepreneurs, in my student group, who have been very open to my learnings and have followed the mentoring. So there was this a lady, I do not want to name her, although. So she was very brilliant in her academics right from her school time. Very good in communication, very good, in expressing herself. But then after her marriage, although she studied very well, she graduated from a good college. But then after her marriage, her career totally stalled. So she got too busy with her, regular house related chores, and then she missed it out. So she missed out on her career and building on it further. So when her children grew up, and then she really started feeling that void within, which started biting her from inside, that Nisha, really helped me out to overcome this. So that's exactly the reason why she approached me, and then what we did with her is mentored her, understanding what her belief is actually making her do. So most of the times it is about what you believe about yourself and about your people, about your immediate environment, about the industry. Belief and attitude plays a very important role here. So if you have wrong beliefs, then you will never want to make a choice of moving out of your comfort zone. Why? Because you are always scared of making a decision, right? That what will happen if, because these people will never support me, or I will never be able to do this because I've never done for so many years. So these are all your beliefs. So we began with her beliefs, and then we helped her with the entire process of what are her strengths and what does she want to do, and then eventually we built up on her strengths further, developed her skills, and then made her a person that she would be proud of. We also helped her to build up a startup, and then right now she's on her own feet, and she's doing a great job. So basically right now she's self-employed, and she's able to contribute to her, she's able to follow her own passion, as well as she's able to do a lot for the lives of others by following her own dreams, right? So similarly, we have a lot of employees whom we have trained, like being a coach, and we also have a team of professional trainers with us. So we train employees of large organization, MSMEs as well, even the the startups and their teams. So I will share with you some stories of people who underwent our trainings, and they were very weak and low on confidence. There are most of our our participants, when we train them as an employee to, become better leaders, become better managers, so they have the same kind of a question about, they're very hesitant to talk to their own bosses. They are not able to present themselves well. They don't feel confident, and because of that, they do not get the right promotion, even if they deserve it. So we mentored a lot of such people who have been able to follow their passion, and not only that, but also understand. See, understand that you do not identify what your strengths are, right? Then you would not have, that courage to go and ask it for something from someone. So if you are in need of a promotion, but then if you feel that you don't deserve the promotion, then your communication will never build that trust in the other person that you deserve it, right? So for being able to ask for something, you need to first believe in it, and for that you first need to identify why do you need to believe in it. So that finding out your own strengths, working on it, to be able to express and ask for help, right? Ask for something that you deserve it. So we build on those skills, which actually transform them. And so many people in the group, and they are still in touch with us, who share with us that, ma'am, I have got an increment now. We asked for it, and now I feel better. I got a promotion. So there are so many stories like these, whether they are business owners or whether they are career aspirants, there are students, there are employees. Follow a particular process, a protocol, and then achieve the results. So yeah, these are few of them.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. Well, please tell us about the learnings that you have, like your personal learnings from life and success that you have achieved. Please, please give some experiences.
Okay. Personal experiences. Okay, so life learnings. I think one thing that I have learned from life is every single event, or every circumstance, every situation that you pass through comes for some reason. Okay, and how you make most of that event, how you take that event, whether you take it as a learning, then you grow. If you take it as a burden, then you are pushed back, and then again and again life will bring you back to the same problem. So it is like a mathematical equation. Like you are given a mathematical equation and you are asked to solve it. Okay. And you take it as a problem. That, oh my God, what a mathematical equation. I can never do this. I don't want to do it. And then you avoid the mathematical equation and you don't want to solve it. And how much ever you hide from it, but the equation stays. So life ensures that unless and until you don't learn how to solve that equation, you can't move forward. So for some time, you will have some turns and twists in your life. But again, that mathematical equation is again going to be in front of you, and life will again ask you to solve it. So unless and until you don't learn from the events, from the situations that you are posed by life, you will not be able to grow. So what I have really learned, from my life is that every single situation that I am faced with, I look for the learnings. That has helped me stay positive, that has helped me grow, and that has helped me become the person that I am. So even if there are certain challenges, because nobody has no challenges in life, right? So everybody has their own set of challenges, and everybody has their own set of events. Nobody has a life free of events or free of challenges. So how you perceive it and what you do in response to it is helping you to grow, or it will take you back. So nobody wants to go back in life, right? You want to grow always because you want to be happy.
Yes.
So that's where I see as my most important learning of life.
Okay, so that was really interesting. Please tell us five books or lessons which every child should read or keep in mind to have maximum impact in their lives, to build their character and personality to face the future, like challenges of this world.
Okay. So there are so many of them. Um, okay, let me think. I think my favorite one is Ikigai. People who would want to really learn how to follow their passion and live a meaningful life, they must read Ikigai. My second favorite book is Alchemist, and I have read it so many times, and I always have a new learning from it. Bhagavad Gita is something that I still admire. Although people still feel कि इतनी मोटी किताब कैसे पढ़ेंगे, but then trust me, it is worth reading. There are a lot of podcasts available as well. So Bhagavad Gita ji ko you must read. Then there are books like Magic of Thinking Big, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. All of these books will really, inculcate. You can also read 25 Principles of Success, wherein it tells you about how to get from where you are to where you want to be. So yeah, there are so many, but in the top of the mind, these are the few of them which I would still recommend everyone to read.
Yes. Ikigai is one of one book that I have read. It is from Japan,
Okay.
and it says about it's also one of the most interesting books. So now, can you please tell us about the importance of teamwork and how to incorporate it in life? Like, see, if you work with a person who you don't like, and you do not have an understanding with them, then how do you create that understanding and work and create the best possible end result?
Okay. So, see, teamwork. The reason why teamwork is important is because, see, this is the world of collaboration. Okay, so you really cannot work solo. You really cannot work solo. Okay, so you have to work with people. Now, the interesting question here is that how do you actually work with people you don't like, right? So that's a big challenge that you have to work with the person and you don't like the person, right? So what do we need to do here? So I always recommend that, see, there are few people that you never get by choice. Okay, so your parents are one of them. You are born to some parents and it's not by your choice, right? They are your parents, right? And secondly are your bosses, are your co-workers, because if you have identified a particular employer to work with and you are given a boss, you cannot change them. So you cannot make a choice, no, I want this boss and I don't want that boss. You cannot do that, right? So the first thing is acceptance. Okay, acceptance about that you cannot change this. Okay, I normally tell this very basic aspect here. It is like human tendency to challenge things that can be changed. Okay, say for example, we all know there is gravity, right? Gravity
Yes.
exists. Okay, so if you decide that I don't want to accept gravity, I don't like gravity. I mean, if you look about the shortcomings of gravity, there are so many problems because of gravity. Okay, let us think about it. Like, say for example, because of gravity, when you walk, your shoes, because of friction due to gravity, on the earth. So when you walk too much, then your soles, get completely toned up, right? If you continuously use gravity and friction against your shoe soles, so you would say that, oh, it spoils my shoes. Okay, if you have gravity, you are not able to jump high like the way if you were in on moon, you would make a jump and you would go 1.5 feet up with just one step. You can't do that because of gravity, right? So there are so many things that you cannot do because of gravity. Okay, you cannot fly, you cannot run in speed, you cannot do so many things. Everything you want it to fly, like if you throw a ball, unfortunately it comes down, it cannot fly up in the sky. You cannot float in the sky. If there was zero gravity, you could float in the sky. It would be so much fun. But do you challenge that? You don't challenge that, right? Why you don't challenge
Yes.
it? Because you know that you cannot change it, right? So what do you do? So what did humans do? So all humans accepted it that we cannot change it. So let us make best out of what is it, right? So what we did is we started using tires, we started making things on the ground, we learned how to play games with the use of gravity, and now we are used to it, now we have accepted, right? So the first thing about teamwork is, the more you look at it as a challenge and do not want to accept it, okay, then probably you will never be able to find out a way out. Okay, so if you do not like a person, the first step is that you have to accept that this person is going to stay, right? There are only two things that you need to make a choice. Okay, one, if you do not like something, okay, if you do not like something, change it. And if you cannot change it, then accept it, right? So either you do something to change it, and if you think that you cannot change it, then accept it, right? So say for example, if you're working with some people who are really troublesome, can you opt out of that group? Can you join some other organization with the right set of people? And what is the guarantee that those people would be better than these? What if they are worse than the people you have just left, right? You never know, right? So the second option is learn how to work in that team by accepting people's ideas, by accepting how people actually are. Because see, if somebody has some flaws, accept that you also have some flaws. So being able to understand the other person's intention and making all your work task oriented rather than people oriented. Task oriented as in, the focus has to be about the work that you are in discussion, rather than who is saying, how is the person saying. Let us just forget about analyzing it. Why did he say that? Just look at the way he communicated. Let us just focus on the task in hand. And are we communicating? Are we acting on the task or not? Make your communication as simple and as clear as possible. So whenever I take up teamwork sessions, there are only four things that we need to remember about team. Okay, one, T. T stands for talk. Talking is very important. Talking in the sense communicating. The more you communicate with people, the better there is transparency and there is lack of a communication gap. So regularly communicate with people. The more you hide things, the more you procrastinate. I'll let him know later. You don't tell people at the right time and a lot of other things. So communication, keep interacting regularly, keep updating people regularly. The second and the very important one is encouragement. See, the more you encourage people, that whatever you're doing good. When you appreciate people, then people start liking you. Like say, for example, I say, Aditya, wow, you're doing such a wonderful job and I really appreciate this kind of an initiative. You like it, right? So when you appreciate someone, people think that you are by their side. So whatever it is, genuine appreciations, I do not mean that you have to just keep bragging about things, but yeah, appreciate people, encourage people positively that you can do it and you are a wonderful person, so you encourage them. The second is about, very important element is about assisting people. Assisting in the sense, there are certain roles and responsibilities in an organization we all have. right? So you are given some set of job roles, and I am given some set of job roles. So, but despite of that, there are times wherein I may need your help. Okay, although it is not part of your work, but I need some help of yours because I'm stuck somewhere. So say for example, I'm working on my PC and I don't know how to take care of this certain problem that just occurred on my PC. So I call you up and I ask you that, Aditya, I am stuck and I don't know how to do this, right? And then if you say that that's not my job, that's your job, and I am not supposed to do that, I'm already busy in my work, then you are creating a distance. And I will remember. So when Aditya will need my help, I am not going to go, right? Because when I needed help, Aditya didn't come. So always offer assistance, even when it is like, people are just looking for help and you are there to say, okay, do you want my help? So when you assist people beyond, their expectations, they feel valued and it will definitely come back to you, right? And the final thing is measure the performance, how better you were than before. So say for example, you do not like to work with somebody, but you constantly measure the expected outcome. So if you are a supervisor and you have a team member, you do not gel well, but you want to get the work done. So then you keep telling the person that, this is what the areas that you were to deliver, how far have we reached, in a very positive note. So keeping some specific goals and measuring it regularly, then keeping your expectations clear to that person will actually keep it more task focused. And then the scope of, disengagement between the two of you will be very limited. So I think these things will definitely help you, collaborate well with people with whom you do not gel well. Yeah.
Yes, that was very interesting. So please tell me, who are your role models from whom you have been inspired the most and why?
Okay, so my role models, I would say my parents are my first role models. I have learned so much from them, and I think a lot of the values that were ingrained in me right in the beginning, and they continue to do so. So I always aspired to be as good and a better individual as I could be. So yeah, my first role models are definitely my mom and my dad. My second role models, because see, why I'm talking about my first family is because I know them in and out. So I know it is not just what they show that they are, but I have seen them, I have lived with them. So even my daughters, I see that how much children spark creativity and positivity despite of whatever is, there's so much things to learn from children, and I learn each day from them about so many things. It would be like countless, every single moment I'm learning. And thirdly, I would also say that Sundar Pichai is also one of my inspirational role models, because I have read so much about him, and things that really inspire me about him is depth of knowledge, but still humble, honest, keeping your people along with you and growing together, not forgetting your roots, giving back to the community, giving back to the country you were born in. There are so many things. So even, being able to inspire millions of people, and reaching at a level wherein nobody at his level, from the kind of city he came up from Madurai, he reached to that level of becoming the CEO of Alphabet and Google. So I think that journey is inspirational, and moreover, being at a journey wherein you are loved by people around you, within your own team, and people real, because all of these researchers talk about how much he's loved by his own employees, despite of him not belonging to the same community, not being born in the same country, but still being loved by the people there. So there's so much to learn from him. So I think, yeah, these are all my role models. There's so many more, but yeah, top of the mind, these are the ones.
Yes, that is very interesting. Please tell me, please advise two people whom you would like to see and learn from on this show.
Okay. So I would love to see this lady by the name of Geeta Shroff. I really am inspired by the kind of work she does. She is the one who has been contributing heavily to the community, wherein she helps, especially a lot of women who are distressed, who are seeking for help, and she has made a change really happen in lives of millions of people. So I have seen how much a transformation that she has changed, that she has made happen, how much she has built lives of women in, not only in the city but the state as well. She's also been admired by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi for her work. So I think her story and the kind of work she does would definitely inspire so many more people to focus more on giving back to the society and contributing in uplifting lives of people. So yeah, so she's definitely one whom I would love to see on the show. I would also love to see one more lady who has survived out of cancer, and she began a very small journey, and but today she's become a good speaker. She inspires a lot of people, especially people who are cancer survivors or who are still struggling with that disease. And a lot of people give up, they lose hope in life. But she's the lady who has actually broken all the limits of life and been able to overcome that. Pratibha is her name. So yeah, so I think these two ladies are the one I would love to see on the show, and I think a lot of people would be inspired.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Well, lastly, I hope you please, and ma'am, please share those contacts also. Those you mentioned. You can personally message me on my number, and you can send those
Sure.
contacts. Yeah.
I'll
And lastly, I hope you enjoyed this show. Please advise what unique thing you have liked about my show, and any suggestions which should be incorporated to improve the experience.
Okay. All right. So, what I loved about this show is interacting with you, Aditya. The best thing about this show is that the questions that you asked, they are so very relevant, and actually aligns to the need of people. Okay, so they are not something out of, like, people cannot relate, and it's a lot of gyan kind of a work, content, right? But your questions were very specific, very relevant, which I'm very sure will help people resolve some of the areas of concerns probably they are dealing with, some challenges that they are dealing with. Secondly, I think the thought process that has gone into coming up with this entire initiative of yours, because see, just coming up with, because I have already given so many interviews with so many YouTube channels and live interviews on news channels and a lot of interviews, and in every interview people want to learn about your journey, but most importantly, relating that journey with the audience is where the real trick is, right? So if I have my journey, how is your audience going to benefit? So that is only possible when you as a host is able to connect the audience with the speaker. So I have loved the entire thought process that has gone in this show, wherein you identify the right people with the right questions, and then, connecting it with your audiences and helping them, face those challenges. And thirdly, and the most importantly, is that, at this early age, seeing you with so much of bubbling confidence, I'm going to share this video with my daughters as well. So I'm very sure that, everybody is going to be so inspired to see a young host like you, who can very confidently comprehend, because many a times, people even of my age or even elder, they may not be able to comprehend the kind of stuff that I'm saying, and more importantly, having the patience to listen. I think that's wonderful. So kudos to you, and I'm very proud to see you doing such a great job. And I think you are a role model yourself for so many people of your age and beyond.
Thank you. Thank you for those. Thank you for those words. These words only inspire me to go forward and do many interviews and bring out the stories from the heart and soul of India. So I was trying to contribute in my own way. Thank you, ma'am.
Mhm.
It was really interesting to talk to you because you gave so much knowledge today, and I learned so much. I hope my viewers, you learned a lot too, because ma'am shared a lot of very interesting experience from her life. So thank you, ma'am, for coming on the show.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure we will do many more sessions like these.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, dear. It's a pleasure. It's an honor.